Welcome to English Speaking Practice, Ricardo's Journey to Mastery. What if mastering English unlocked more than just fluency? Follow Ricardo's thrilling journey, where every word leads to power, mystery, and a shocking truth that changes everything. Don't miss the finale. Chapter 1. The Early Foundations. Building the Basics. Ricardo sat quietly in his English class. The teacher's voice echoed faintly. A mysterious note slipped onto his desk. The handwriting was unfamiliar, yet hauntingly elegant. Master this language. It will save your life, it read. Ricardo's heart raced as he glanced around. No one seemed to notice the cryptic message. He tucked the note into his book, questions swirling. Was this a prank or a warning? The school's language lab held an eerie, unspoken allure. Flickering lights hummed with an unsettling energy. Ricardo felt drawn to the old tape recorder. A cassette labeled Speak or Fall caught his eye. His fingers trembled as he pressed play. The voice was robotic, yet oddly familiar. Repeat after me, or you will never leave, it said. Ricardo hesitated, then obeyed. Each word felt like a key unlocking something deeper. After class, the school hallways grew eerily silent. A faint whisper called his name from the shadows. Ricardo followed, heart pounding with both fear and curiosity. The voice led him to a forgotten storeroom. Dusty books and old dictionaries lined the shelves. He found a notebook with his name written in red ink. Inside, English phrases were scrawled in a style he recognized, his own handwriting. The notebook contained lessons he hadn't yet learned. Practice daily, or the gift becomes a curse, it warned. Ricardo couldn't explain how the words were there. The phrases were perfectly structured, far beyond his level. He practiced them aloud, his voice trembling. Each repetition felt like stepping deeper into a mystery. What power was this language unlocking in him? That night, Ricardo dreamt vividly in English. Unfamiliar voices filled his mind. You must speak to survive, they chanted in unison. He awoke to find the mysterious note glowing faintly. It now read, "Tomorrow, your test begins." At school, his teacher announced a surprise oral exam. Ricardo felt strangely prepared, as though the language was now part of him. But who or what was guiding him? Ricardo aced the test, but the mystery deepened. The note vanished, leaving behind a single phrase. This is only the beginning. Keep speaking or you'll forget. Ricardo knew he couldn't ignore the path ahead. Little did he know, these early lessons were preparing him for more than just fluency. They were shaping his destiny. Chapter 2. Adapting to a New Culture. Ricardo stepped off the plane, greeted by unfamiliar sounds. The city seemed alive, its pulse a foreign rhythm. English words swirled around him, both inviting and elusive. A stranger brushed past, whispering, "Watch your tongue, it reveals everything." Ricardo turned, but the man vanished into the crowd. This was not just a city, it was a test. Could he adapt, or would the language consume him? In a quiet corner of the city, Ricardo found a cafe. The menu was in English, but the words blurred. The barista handed him a black envelope with his coffee. Inside, a single note read, "Order perfectly, and doors will open." He tried, fumbling over unfamiliar phrases. The barista smirked, handing him a key with his drink. What door did this key unlock? Walking the bustling streets, Ricardo heard a familiar melody. It was an old English song from his childhood classes. A street performer was singing, eyes locked on Ricardo. "Sing with me, or lose your way," the man urged. Ricardo hesitated but joined in, his accent betraying him. The performer handed him a map marked with strange symbols. "This will guide you where words cannot," he whispered. Ricardo followed the map to a hidden bookstore. A linguist inside greeted him as though expecting his arrival. "Your accent hides more than you know," the man said. He handed Ricardo a book titled The Art of Adaptation. Every page holds a challenge. Complete them or stay lost. Ricardo flipped the pages, each revealing complex phrases to master. His heart raced. This was no ordinary lesson. One evening, Ricardo attended a football networking event. He overheard someone speaking in perfect English, but with his accent. Approaching the man, Ricardo asked where he was from. The man smirked and replied, "Where you'll be if you fail." They conversed, the man testing Ricardo's fluency with riddles. Each answer unlocked another layer of understanding. But who was this man, and why did he mirror Ricardo's journey? Ricardo returned to his apartment, drained but determined. On his table lay a letter he didn't remember writing. It read, "Your tongue is your weapon. Use it wisely." Beneath the letter was a newspaper clipping. The headline, "Coach Ricardo, the man destined to change languages forever." Confusion and clarity battled within him. Was this his future, or a warning of what was to come? Chapter 3. The Power of Apps and Online Resources. Ricardo browsed the App Store, searching for tools to improve. Among familiar names, one app stood out, the Linguist's Key. Its icon shimmered as though alive, drawing him in. The description read, "Unlock fluency, but beware what you unleash." Curious, Ricardo downloaded it, his instincts warning him otherwise. The app required no login, just his voice to activate. A voice greeted him. "Speak to open the first door." The app launched with an unfamiliar interface, dark yet inviting. A single phrase appeared, "Repeat or be forgotten." Ricardo hesitated, then mimicked the words perfectly. The screen shifted, revealing a map with glowing points. Each represented a language challenge he had to complete. Suddenly, his phone buzzed with a message. "Don't stop, your time is running out." Was the app teaching him or tracking him? As Ricardo practiced pronunciation, the app responded with eerie precision. "Your tone is improving, but your heart hesitates," it said. He froze, wondering how it could sense his emotions. The app guided him to practice with real conversations. A video chat connected him to a stranger with a blurred face. "You're not here to learn. You're here to unlock," they said cryptically. Ricardo's unease grew, but his curiosity pulled him forward. One challenge led Ricardo to a virtual room labeled the Gatekeeper. Inside, an avatar appeared, mirroring his gestures and accent. "You seek fluency, but at what cost?" it asked. Each question demanded answers in perfect English. When he faltered, the screen darkened, and a countdown began. "Your time in this world is limited. Speak to survive," the voice warned. Ricardo completed the task, unlocking a cryptic phrase. "The key is in your past." The app synced with his other devices without permission. His laptop opened a browser showing old videos of his football matches. The commentary, once in Spanish, now played in English. "This is your legacy. Rewrite it," the app instructed. Confused, Ricardo noticed a file had been downloaded automatically. It was an audio file of his own voice, speaking words he'd never learned. How was this possible? As Ricardo advanced, the app revealed hidden resources. It provided exclusive content not found anywhere else. Yet, each new lesson required more personal sacrifices. Share your memories to unlock advanced fluency, the app demanded. It displayed photos from his childhood, ones he hadn't uploaded. He felt a growing sense of loss with every achievement. Was the app improving him or consuming him? One night, Ricardo woke to find the app open on its own. A new message awaited. "Congratulations, you're almost there. Now teach what you've learned." The screen flickered, showing his reflection as a teacher in a classroom. Students stared at him, their faces unfamiliar yet hauntingly familiar. The app whispered one final phrase. "Your story is no longer your own. It's theirs now." Ricardo couldn't shake the feeling he had unlocked something far greater and far darker than language mastery. Chapter 4. Practice Makes Perfect. Daily Routines. Ricardo began his mornings practicing English in front of a mirror. The routine felt normal until the reflection seemed slightly delayed. One day, the mirror spoke his words back, out of sync. "You're improving, but you're not alone," it whispered faintly. Startled, he searched for a logical explanation, but found none. The mirror's surface shimmered, revealing faint outlines of words he hadn't practiced. Each morning brought new phrases, as if the mirror were teaching him. As part of his routine, Ricardo kept a journal in English. One evening, he left it open on his desk before bed. The next morning, new entries appeared in handwriting identical to his own. "Speak these words aloud," the entries commanded. The phrases were advanced, yet they flowed naturally when he spoke. Each time he obeyed, he felt his fluency deepen. But whose hand was guiding his progress? Ricardo practiced listening exercises at night, using headphones to drown distractions. One evening, the audio shifted from the usual lessons to something chilling. A soft voice began repeating his name, followed by cryptic phrases. "Your fluency comes at a cost. Are you ready to pay?" it asked. Ricardo froze, unsure if it was part of the program or his imagination. When he checked the app, no record of the session existed. To improve conversation skills, Ricardo started speaking aloud during his walks. At first, he felt silly until he noticed a shadow moving beside him. The shadow seemed to mimic his gestures, perfectly synchronized. One day, it spoke back, completing sentences he hadn't finished. "You're almost there, but don't stop now," it urged. The shadow vanished when others approached, leaving Ricardo questioning his sanity. Ricardo's daily routine included timed speaking drills using an old stopwatch. One afternoon, he noticed the timer ticking even after it was off. The sound grew louder, echoing in his apartment. "Your time is limited. Speak faster. Learn faster," a voice urged from nowhere. The faster he practiced, the quieter the ticking became. But when he rested, the ticking returned, louder and more insistent than before. One evening, Ricardo practiced reading aloud from a book he'd found. The words on the page began glowing faintly as he read. A soft breeze passed through the room, though the windows were closed. The door to his apartment creaked open, revealing a hallway that didn't belong to his building. "Step through to master the language," a voice called from the other side. Fear and curiosity battled within him. Ricardo's routines no longer felt ordinary. They seemed orchestrated by something unseen. Each day brought new challenges, and each night new mysteries. The mirror, the journal, the shadow, they all felt connected. As he practiced one final phrase before bed, his reflection mouthed something different. "Fluency is only the beginning," it said, smirking. Ricardo realized his daily routines weren't just improving his English. They were unlocking a reality he didn't yet understand. Chapter 5. From Football Fields to Boardrooms. Ricardo's transition from player to coach started in dimly lit locker rooms. He often overheard whispers in English, conversations he wasn't meant to understand. One evening, a voice emerged from the shadows. "Speak up, coach, or lose the game," it warned. No one was there, yet the words felt directed at him. Ricardo couldn't shake the feeling that language was becoming his opponent. During a training session, Ricardo found a notebook on the bench. Its cover was plain, but inside were detailed English scripts. The phrases seemed oddly specific, like "motivate them when they falter" and "silence the doubters." Ricardo used the lines in his next speech, to shocking effect. The team responded with unprecedented energy, as though the words held power. Who had left the notebook and why? His first press conference as assistant coach felt like a battlefield. Reporters fired questions in rapid English, their expressions unreadable. Suddenly, Ricardo noticed a man in the back row. The man's gaze was piercing, his nods encouraging but unsettling. Ricardo answered flawlessly, the words flowing as if pre-written. When the conference ended, the man was gone, leaving a note: "You passed. Prepare for the next challenge." Ricardo's rise meant addressing board members, a daunting task for a non-native speaker. During his first meeting, the lights flickered ominously as he spoke. The chairman handed him a file labeled Speak or Fail. Inside were English phrases Ricardo had practiced in private, phrases he'd never shared aloud. He used them during the presentation, each word landing perfectly. When the meeting ended, he felt a strange sense of déjà vu. Late one night, Ricardo received a call from an unknown number. The voice on the line spoke in perfect English, yet it felt familiar. "You're doing well, but your accent reveals too much," it said. The call ended abruptly, but his phone buzzed with a message. "Look under your desk." There, he found an old cassette tape labeled The Accent Game. Listening to it revealed phrases he'd never practiced, but somehow knew. At a gala event, Ricardo was introduced to a mysterious figure. The man's English was flawless, yet his accent matched Ricardo's. "You've done well, but you're not finished," the man said cryptically. He handed Ricardo a book titled The Language of Influence. Each page was blank except for a single sentence: "Speak to write your future." The man disappeared before Ricardo could ask who he was. As Ricardo reflected on his journey, a new question haunted him. Was he mastering English, or was English mastering him? That night, his phone buzzed with one final message: "The words you speak shape the world around you. Use them wisely." Ricardo realized his journey was far from over. The boardrooms, the fields, the voices, they were all pieces of a larger hidden game. And he wasn't sure who was truly in control. Chapter 6. Lessons from the Football Pitch. Ricardo often spoke to his team in private huddles. One evening after practice, he felt a presence nearby. A faint shadow lingered on the edge of the field. "Your words carry power. Use them wisely," a voice whispered. Ricardo turned, but no one was there. The shadow dissipated, leaving behind an old whistle. Inscribed on it were the words, "Lead or be led." During a critical match, Ricardo noticed a playbook left on the bench. The diagrams were familiar, but the notes were in English. Phrases like anticipate the unexpected and control the narrative stood out. He incorporated the strategies mid-game, and his team turned the tide. Afterward, the playbook vanished, replaced by a single note: "The pitch is your classroom. Speak to win." Walking through the stadium tunnel, Ricardo felt a chill in the air. A voice echoed softly, "Every word on the pitch is a decision." The voice recited English commands he'd practiced years ago. They were precise, strategic, and eerily tailored to his current game. When he reached the field, a scarf lay on the ground. Embroidered on it was a question: "Who taught you to lead?" During a rainy evening practice, the field lights flickered ominously. Ricardo shouted instructions to his players, but the wind carried them away. Suddenly, the sound of a whistle pierced the air, though no one blew it. "Your voice must cut through the storm," a voice commanded. He repeated his instructions louder, clearer, in perfect English. The players responded instantly, as if compelled by his words. The storm passed, but the whistle remained unexplained. One late-night training session, Ricardo decided to practice penalty shots alone. As he lined up a kick, a figure appeared in goal. It wore a jersey with no number and spoke no words. Ricardo took the shot, but the figure blocked it effortlessly. "Your strategy needs words, not just action," the figure finally said. It pointed to the goalpost, where a phrase was etched: "Speak your way through obstacles." Before a championship game, Ricardo gathered his team for a huddle. His speech flowed effortlessly in English, inspiring confidence and determination. As he spoke, the words seemed to echo unnaturally, louder than his voice. The players looked around, searching for the source of the sound. When the game ended in victory, Ricardo found a note in the locker room. "Today, you spoke like a leader. Tomorrow, you'll speak for more." Ricardo left the field, feeling both triumphant and unsettled. The lessons he learned on the pitch extended beyond football. His words shaped the game, the players, and even the air around him. As he locked up the stadium, he noticed his reflection in the glass door. It spoke back saying, "You've mastered the pitch, now master the world." Ricardo knew this was only the beginning of something far greater. Chapter 7. A shocking turn. The mystery that changed everything. Ricardo found an envelope on his office desk. It was unmarked, with no address or sender. Inside was a single sheet of paper. The message read, "Your language skills hold the key to your past." Confused, he flipped the paper, finding coordinates and a time. The location was unfamiliar, but the message felt deeply personal. The coordinates led Ricardo to an abandoned library outside the city. The air was thick with silence, broken only by creaking doors. Inside, a table held a book with his name embossed on it. The title read "The Forgotten Chapters." As he opened it, photographs fell out. Images of a man who looked like him but wasn't him. Beneath the photos was a note. "He taught you everything, even if you didn't know." Ricardo explored deeper into the library, uncovering a hidden room. Dusty reels of film lined the shelves, labeled in perfect English. One reel bore the title, "The Coach's Legacy." He played it on an old projector, the room illuminated with flickering light. The footage showed a man giving speeches in flawless English. Ricardo recognized the man. It was the mysterious figure from his past press conferences. "Who are you?" Ricardo whispered to the empty room. As the reel ended, a projector malfunction revealed hidden text. "He was your mentor even before you knew the game." Ricardo's mind raced, piecing together memories of his journey. Every cryptic phrase, every shadowy figure, it all pointed to this man. The next clue came in the form of another envelope, taped beneath the projector. It read, "Your next step awaits. Speak your truth." Ricardo followed the new clue to a secluded cafe. A man in a dark suit waited for him at a corner table. "We've been watching your progress." The man began, his voice calm. "Your fluency wasn't just for you, it was preparation for others." Ricardo demanded answers, but the man slid a folder across the table. Inside were documents detailing a global program, training leaders through language mastery. You were chosen, the man added cryptically. The documents outlined Ricardo's role in a secret initiative. His speeches, his fluency, his journey. They had been carefully orchestrated. The goal: to influence and unite through the power of words. You've become more than a coach, the man said. You're a messenger. Ricardo struggled to grasp the magnitude of this revelation. His journey wasn't about football or personal growth. It was about global transformation. As Ricardo left the cafe, he noticed his reflection in a shop window. The reflection didn't mirror his movements. Instead, it spoke, saying, "You've found the truth, but the mission has just begun." Ricardo knew he couldn't return to his old life. The language he'd mastered had become his greatest weapon and his greatest mystery. With every word he spoke, the world around him would change, but he no longer knew if it was for better or worse. In our next video, I invite you to watch the story the ever dreamed of being mistaken for a native speaker abroad. Discover how a 45-year-old man mastered English fluently with smart techniques, and uncover the unexpected twist that changed everything.